We now turn to Andy Purdy. He's the chief cybersecurity strategist with the Computer Sciences Corporation, or CSC. He also was a cybersecurity advisor to President George W. Bush. Andy is on the phone with us from Bethesda, Maryland, the very same city where Lockheed Martin happens to be based. Andy, the target here is the world's largest defense contractor, presumably a repository for many of America's top military secrets, certainly top military technology. Should we assume that the attacker was a foreign government or perhaps an entity sponsored by a foreign government or with the blessing of a foreign government, given what Lockheed Martin has in its computer network?
Well, we have to assume that this attack, which is like so many others against aerospace and defense companies, and in fact against major companies of our critical infrastructure and some of the major global players who are based in the United States, is part of a systematic series of attacks to steal our intellectual property and to gain competitive advantage over the United States. Whether it's done by nation states or those working for nation states, it poses a very significant threat to our competitive advantage and our national security.
Should we then believe Lockheed Martin and the White House, I should add, that the damage done here was minimal? You'd have to imagine that the White House and Lockheed would be in a very difficult position in terms of disclosing to the public what exactly happened if the damage wasn't minimal.
Well, we have no reason to disbelieve the comments from Lockheed Martin or the Department of Defense. The fact, though, is we should not take great comfort in those assurances because of the ongoing seriousness of the threat, the success that those who would do us harm are having in stealing our intellectual property. This is going on all the time.
Andy, do we still have you there?
We're under a sophisticated, continued attempt to steal our intellectual property.
Andy, do we still have you on the phone?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, we're just getting a bit of a dodgy connection. Let me ask you this, though. It seems like the number of hacking attacks has been exploding in recent months, not just against defense contractors or companies affiliated with national defense, but against all kinds of companies. NASDAQ, for example, Sony, another recent prominent example. Is any company, whether it's Lockheed Martin or any other, truly capable of defending itself in this new cybersecurity world?
The short answer is no company is able to fully defend itself. Every company has to assume that they've been penetrated, and they have to work closely with other companies and with the government to share information about the latest threats, and they also have to begin to monitor their outbound traffic, looking for traffic going from their networks to places it should not go. That's how some of these sophisticated attacks have been caught, and we have to do a lot more of that outbound filtering to protect ourselves.
Okay, but one quick question before we go. Who is the we? To what degree does the government need to get involved at this point? Is it enough of a national security threat, the proliferation of hacking attacks, not just the one against Lockheed Martin?
Well, there's no question that the government has to ramp up the information sharing that it has with private companies. You're aware of the effort with aerospace and defense companies. There's a pilot with IT companies. We have to facilitate the sharing of highly sensitive secret information of government with the private sector in a timely way so that we have a chance to protect ourselves and minimize the losses.
Andy, thank you for joining us. Andy Purdy, the chief cybersecurity strategist at the Computer Sciences Corporation, talking to us about the breach at the world's largest defense contractor, Lockheed Martin.